Hello, everyone, and welcome. I'm Grace Hatfield from EHS Daily Advisor, and thank you for tuning in to today's episode of Faces of EHS. This is a special segment where we're featuring one of our former Faces guests to hear her thoughts about upcoming EHS trends and issues in 2023. So please join me in welcoming back Rachel Housman, who is the Principal Consultant of Ally Safety. So, hi, Rachel, how are you today?
Hey, I'm good. It's glad to be back talking with you. I mean,
Yeah,
good to
good.
be back talking with you.
Yeah. So great, let's jump right into it. What are some trends in EHS that we can expect to see in 2023?
Well, I think that we're going to see some interesting things coming out of 2023. And the main one that I think is on everybody's mind right now is the economy. What we
Mhm.
expect is for there to be an increase in unemployment and more companies tightening their belts in terms of spending. So that means we may be seeing cutbacks in the safety department and in hiring overall. So we should be prepared to take on those challenges in the new year and know that although there is still a labor shortage and a lot of companies are having trouble hiring the talent they need, the unemployment may increase, which could possibly help that slightly. But overall, we think we're going to still continue to see some difficulties in hiring and some difficulties in budgeting.
Gotcha. So I know when we were kind of discussing trends before our meeting, you mentioned shorter employment lengths. So, what are some of the reasons behind shorter employment lengths within companies these days?
Yeah, this is super interesting. The first company that I worked for out of college had a really strong union presence, and most of the
Hmm.
people there had been there 25 years. That is something that has gone by the wayside and is no longer expected. So, the reason that we're seeing this shorter duration in employment is because it's kind of common knowledge that if you want to move up in a company, you need to
Hmm.
change employers more often. A lot of times, the career advice for young professionals is that's the fastest way to increase your salary
Hmm.
and also move up. So we know that's an issue. And that's also something that kind of comes out of Silicon Valley, where if you're at a company for 3 years, people are starting to question why.
Hmm.
Now, additionally, with having fewer unions and fewer companies that really support a lifelong career, it makes sense to change when there's a better option out there. So, as companies get more competitive for hiring new employees and new talent, we anticipate that that tenure is just going to decrease with the younger generations, especially.
Gotcha. So I'm sure that'll probably lead to having less experienced employees at jobs. So how in safety should professionals prepare for that?
Well, I think the biggest thing we need to be aware of is we've had a bit of a luxury in the past where we're getting experienced employees and experienced talent, and we won't have that anymore. So the
Hmm.
question is, how do we prepare this new workforce to be competent and comfortable in jobs that have higher risk? So a
Hmm.
lot of that is going to come down to quality training. And this can be in person. There should definitely be a large in person component. But the problem is, safety professionals are often working with a team that is somewhat slimmer than they would like.
Hmm.
So we
Yeah.
don't have the ability to add hours of training every single week to our already crowded schedule. So, how do
Hmm.
you implement enough training to get workers to the skill set they need to be at to do their job safely? A lot of that's going to be things like safety training courses and videos and things that you can do where you can train employees without you physically having to be the one there training them. So I'm seeing a huge increase in the number of people who are looking at things like our training courses, who are looking at ways that they can record their own training or creating in house training videos. Those all are very big options right now.
Gotcha. So I know you mentioned in-person training, but what about in a remote environment? How can EHS professionals communicate better in that kind of setting?
Yeah, this is tricky because a lot of us are transitioning to a new skill set of communicating
Hmm.
with a really dispersed audience. And the
Hmm.
thing is, we're all used to email or to those little safety reminder sheets that people send out every week. And those are good, but they don't really meet today's expectations with technology. So think
Hmm.
about it. If a picture's worth 1,000 words, a video is worth so much more than that. And video has become an extremely easy communication medium. It's
Hmm.
just about getting used to filming yourself, how you communicate over video, and how you do it well. So, what I'm
Mhm.
really encouraging safety professionals to do is use their current learning management system, their SharePoint website, all of those sorts of tools to create a safety video communication, maybe on a weekly basis, so that you can at least get employees to know who you are and to know your message. It's harder because we don't see those people in person, so we may not be getting their visual feedback necessarily, but they need to know us all the same. So I'm
Mhm.
really pushing people to adapt to video technology.
Absolutely. So speaking of technology, what new technologies do you think will rise to the forefront in EHS in 2023?
I think we'll kind of see more of a continuation of what we're currently seeing with more
Mhm.
companies using things like video training, LMSs, sending out text messages, and all those types of things. But that's kind of
Mhm.
lagging, you know. The stuff that we're seeing on the forefront is much more exciting. And that's stuff like using AI,
Mhm.
more use of robotics, and also more advanced robotics, which is exciting and a little unnerving at the same time.
Mhm.
And then data is becoming so huge. So, employee data gathering, whether you love it or you hate it, is going to be a big part of what we're going to be probably looking at in the bigger companies with safety. So, when
Mhm.
you think about that and you think about this remote workforce, there's more and more tracking of your work and your productivity on your work computer. But it's not going to end there. For so many different employees, for example, heavy machinery operators, there's more tracking now and there's more software in something like an excavator or a bulldozer than there ever has been before. So it's this
Mhm.
big collection of data. And then the question is going to be, how do we utilize that data well? And how do we interpret it accurately? And those are
Mhm.
two different things. And so I think there's going to be a lot of concern about, okay, if this data is being accumulated, is that a violation of privacy? Is one
Mhm.
thing. So there could be some pushback, especially from unions because they have more bargaining capability there. And then the other thing is making sure that the data is used correctly because this is all new to companies. So a
Yeah.
misinterpretation of big data could lead to wrong decision making.
Absolutely. Yeah. I've definitely heard kind of a mixed bag of opinions on AI and big data and all of that from the safety world. I think generally everyone's excited, but there are those hesitations there. So to pivot to you personally, what are you most excited about in 2023?
Well, I'm actually expecting a baby in January, so that's a
Congratulations.
big thing. Yeah, so that's
Yeah.
exciting. And then career-wise, I'm excited to see the ways that we're connecting in safety. Like, I would say this year, um, the safety community online, you know, whether it's people that I've met through LinkedIn, YouTube, Instagram, all of those things, there's really some new leaders emerging in safety, and there's a
Mhm.
lot of excitement and new ideas and new energy. And I feel like the safety social media is actually surprisingly positive.
Mhm.
Especially since social media can be such a negative sort of platform in a lot of ways.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm excited to see what's coming out there, and I'm excited to see who's taking leadership roles and kind of stepping up to the plate in safety, because there's a lot of new ideas and approaches, and I think that in 2023, we'll continue to see growth of that, and that's exciting to me.
Okay, well, great. Thank you so much, Rachel, for your time, and thank you for sharing your insights on the future of EHS.
Yeah, thanks, Grace. I appreciate it.